And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ambassador's Lounge. Tensions in the Middle East are showing no signs of appeasement. The situation is highly volatile. It's fraught with danger and insecurity for the region. Donald Trump, the US president, has now given Iran till April 6 to agree to a negotiated settlement or face consequences. He wants the negotiations to revolve around his 15-point plan. Iran has rejected this plan and has called it one-sided and unfair. Iran has given its own 5-point plan. Mr. Trump has said that Iran is begging for a deal. Iran has said that no, there are no negotiations taking place. And their foreign minister, Mr. Abbas Araghchi, has denied that Iran was negotiating with the US, and he has said messages have been exchanged with the US via intermediaries, but they constitute neither dialogue nor negotiations. Concomitantly, US is strengthening its military presence in the region. It already has around 45 to 50,000 troops in the Gulf. Further reinforcements are on the way. Now, this does not bode well for the region, and it could be a prelude to a dangerous escalation. Meanwhile, the GCC countries, irked by the continuous violation of their sovereignty by Iran, they are at a breaking point. They have to decide whether to exercise restraint or retaliate. And the leaders have vociferously stated that the Iranian actions cannot go unanswered. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's mediatory role in this affair, in an effort to find a solution to the crisis, it's basically of a facilitator of back-channel communication. However, Pakistan's influence is limited because the decision will have to be taken by the warring factions whether they want to engage with each other or not. The question which intrigues the mind and which I will put to my panelists is, how far will this war expand, and how will it reshape the security architecture of the region? I have with me Ambassador Asif Durrani and Ambassador Riaz Bukhari. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Asif, first to you, mate. Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Dar, has said that there has been unnecessary speculations in the media regarding peace talks to end ongoing conflict in the Middle East. In reality, US-Iran indirect talks are taking place through messages being relayed by Pakistan. That's pouring cold water on diplomatic activity. What was the need to utter such words?
Well, I think he might be responding to different media speculations. So what he said was that because there were reports that Iran has outrightly rejected American proposals. And then at the same time, Iran also presented its 5 points. So what kind of a rejection is this? So as you know, the countries, when they are in dispute, they put up their maximalist positions. And this is what I read. What Americans are saying, what has appeared in the public regarding those 15 demands and then Iran's 5 demands. Those are maximalist positions in my view. But at the same time, Iran does not want war to continue. And Americans are also, I think they are exhausting, because whatever they had planned about the war, or they thought that it would be a matter of 1 week, it has proven them wrong. And don't go by President Trump's rhetoric, because the terminology he uses is sometimes, is ridiculous.
Sticking to your point, mate, it's correct that the two sides have adopted maximalist position, but don't you think it should have been gradual? What does this reflect? I mean, Iran has come out with definitely it's a maximalist position that there should be war reparations, that it should have control over the Hormuz, and that there should be guaranteed that Iran won't be attacked. I don't think that's a maximalist position.
What is that then?
It's just it's their basic demand.
Well, they can demand, but the issue is.
It's the basic.
Listen.
Maximalist position would be if they say, okay, there would be no U.S. bases in the region.
That is also one of the demands.
Position, but that's not one of the 5 points.
No, that is also a demand. That is very much.
That is the demand. They would want.
So
that.
the question is, the jury's out. They have not come up with final demands. No. And it is not being discussed in public.
Yes.
So this is what I think Mr. Dar wanted to convey, that whatever we are discussing in public perhaps may not be true. And Iran is a reality. And Iran has proven its military prowess, that American armada, whether it was Gerald Ford or Abraham Lincoln, they had to leave the area.
Gerald Ford was somewhere in the Mediterranean. It didn't have to leave because of this.
It was slated for the region, and also Abraham Lincoln. So where are they? And despite the fact that President Trump says that I have obliterated, I have destroyed their navy.
That's rhetoric.
So these are rhetoric. So here I think, and as you say that in wars, truth is the first casualty.
It is definitely.
So this is being made out. Israel, they are claiming that there is no damage. While every day now you are looking and the leaks show that how much Israel has been damaged.
Definitely.
So its claim of invincibility is in tatters.
Yes. Riaz, do you think that these proposals, or what is happening now between Iran and the US, whether it's through exchange of messages, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt playing a role, do you think this is last-ditch effort to reach a negotiated settlement?
I think it is an effort which has been basically, initiated by the regional countries. When they met, one of the group met in Riyadh, and then on the sideline, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, and Saudi Arabian foreign minister also met. Perhaps during that meeting, the idea, was initiated to play some role and bring the two parties closer to at least negotiations. Because, there is a great danger that this conflict might be escalated and involve other regional countries as well. So this is an effort which has been, initiated with a lot of efforts, and I hope it will lead to some. So if these talks fail, if the two sides fail to reach an agreement, Mr. Trump has given till April 6th to Iran to reach a negotiated settlement. Do you think this would be a second phase of the war and more dangerous phase, more uncertain phase? If we are leading to that scenario, then it will involve serious consequences. Because as you said in the intro, some refreshment, fresh troops are also being deployed, around more than 10,000, I believe. And it could further escalate, the whole conflict.
Asif, do you have a point on this debate?
With regard to these escalations, I think the United States, perhaps, and there lies the suspicion, and this would be the third time.
Definitely.
Because last year, we were hearing that there are positive, developments which are going to take place in a day or two. And then Israel attacked Iran, followed by the United States. And now in this war, again, the same story. We saw that they are, nearing an agreement. But Israel attacked. So here the suspicion is
absolutely
that perhaps they are building up. But having said that, I think Americans would be thinking 100 times before landing their troops on the Iranian soil, because then they have to be ready
for the body bags.
For the body bags.
Okay, Asif. Now, what we have seen after studying the 15-point proposal, the framework or plan of action which Mr. Trump has given, and the 5-point proposal or plan of action which Iran has given. Now, there is a lot of divergence in what so the positions of the two warring countries are far apart. So, in the presence of this, do you see a settlement in sight?
These 15 points from United States and 5 points from Iran. These are the maximalist positions. We have discussed it earlier also. And on way when they are going to negotiate, actually, so I think they have to mellow down and they have to reach some agreement.
The agreement cannot be reached unless until they agree to sit together.
Well, it would be they have to sit together, or like if you recall,
yes,
the Geneva talks between Pakistan and Afghanistan, guaranteed by the US and USSR, and there was shuttle diplomacy, so that can also take place. And it was taking place. Oman was doing that during the last, session, and it was Oman which was shuttling between the two delegations.
And you know that now, for the first time, for these for these talks, the name of Vice President J.D. Vance is also emerging.
It has. Reason is now, I think, and United States perhaps has given in to the Iranian demand that they don't trust Witkoff or
and Jared Kushner.
Jared Kushner.
It's not the question.
So what does this indicate?
It's not the question that they don't trust. What Iranians believe and what Iranians say, and what particularly the foreign minister, Iranian foreign minister, said that they do not have a deep understanding of what the nuclear issue is. And Mr. Arakchi said that I had to explain to them in depth what this nuclear issue was. One thing. Second thing is Mr. J.D. Vance, he has been a strong opponent of this war, US war, and bringing him inside, what does this say?
I think had I been Iranian foreign minister, I would not have uttered these words. Who am I to determine that Witkoff and Vance, Kushner does not have the understanding? Reason is, if you are holding a brief, you know everything. You are an expert. If you don't have a brief, even if you are an expert, you are nothing. And regarding Vance, I don't know what transpired and why the Iranian foreign minister had to say about that.
Okay, but Asif, yes.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so Riaz, you tell me, you have seen this, we have studied, as I said before, these demands or these proposals by US and Iran. Now, what is the position of GCC countries on these on US proposals?
The GCC countries, most of their representatives are already in Washington. And, having meetings with their counterparts in Washington. And a consultation process is ongoing. The GCC countries do not want Iran to violate their territorial sovereignty, do not want their, the airspace, they don't want Iran to launch any attack against them. So they are concerned in a way that whatever, agreement is reached through this informal or indirect negotiations, their interests should be guaranteed in a way that they should have access through, the Strait of Hormuz, and there should be no restriction on their, ships' movement, as well as no attack against their territorial sovereignty.
Now, GCC countries' position on American insistence curtailing the missile program of Iran and the nuclear program. What is the GCC position?
Even if it is, as we were discussing, if Iran decides to reduce it to 1,000 kilometers, still
there.
The GCC are their targets.
How credible are the news that some of the GCC countries are insisting upon the US that Iran's missile program should be completely destroyed? Yeah, Asif?
American bases in GCC countries are a legitimate target because America has been using those bases against Iran. Secondly, Israel has been using these countries' airspaces to launch missile and air attacks. So technically, then these countries should not have allowed Israel to overfly their airspace.
Especially when they said that they will not allow the airspace.
Especially when they said, and it means Israel violated, so they should have used their missile defense system to shoot down Israeli missiles also. I haven't seen any incident of this sort. So I think here the GCC countries will have to make their point of view clear and their position clear, because United States bases they may exist today, but tomorrow the United States may leave. But their neighborhood with Iran would be there.
As if with Saudi Arabia, there was a rapprochement. With Qatar, Iran had good relations. With UAE, there are a lot of investments. In Bahrain, there is a lot of Shia community, therefore a lot of Iranian influence. So why would Iran attack? You have a point there, what you said before. But still, why would Iran attack these countries, make itself isolated in the region?
No,
and
I think
politically weaken itself?
I think it's a military strategy, because if you see, America has destroyed its Usuli gas field, which is the largest. So it means they want to deprive Iran of its oil and gas resources. And they think that they will live happily thereafter. This is not going to happen like that. And especially when Iran has control over Strait of Hormuz. It's war. And Iran has adopted this war strategy. I may not support it, but the issue is that those bases are legitimate targets.
But these GCC countries have still denied that they are allowing Americans to use this airspace.
But they are allowing Israel.
Bases, or their bases.
Imran Yawar, they are allowing Israel, it means. So, what is their answer?
You're allowing Israel to use these American bases?
No, they are airspaces.
Airspace, yeah.
It's the same. Because Israel has caused more damage to Iran in terms of killing their leadership.
So would GCC countries like to see a much weakened Iran? Would it be in their interest?
I think this is what they plan to, but if this is their objective, so do they have the necessary wherewithal or power to become a military power?
Can they join the Americans in this?
No, they have joined them.
No, not actively. I mean actively.
No, actively they won't. I don't think so they will, because when you are prosperous, you don't fight normally.
No, but their security has been endangered. Their sovereignty has been violated areas. So do you think the GCC countries can join Americans actually?
Why GCC country does not establish some rapprochement with Iran?
But they had the rapprochement. It's Iran which is violating their sovereignty.
But it is not attacking their civilian infrastructure.
It is. Their airports have been attacked.
Only those
airports in Qatar, their gas Ras Laffan
were used by the enemy forces, which is in this case.
How was Ras Laffan refinery used? Because
that was a counterattack, because there was attack on Iranian installations launched from the GCC countries by the US forces. So Iran was within its natural
right. How would the reaction within the... You see, Americans are not alone. They have Israel. So if Saudi Arabia, for instance, or UAE, they join them, they're in fact joining a coalition of Israel and Americans. How would it go with their people?
Well, so far, their population have not reacted. It has to be seen. But as far as Iran is concerned, you can see that their population is behind their flag.
Exactly. I totally agree with you.
They may be opposed to the clergy rule. So one thing that they have established. Secondly, Iran, America and Israel together, they have destroyed 10,000 targets in Iran.
Targeted 10,000.
So they have destroyed those targets, quote unquote.
Yes, you're right.
So you can imagine if, say, GCC countries join this war, how many more they want to destroy.
Exactly. Okay, Asif. Now, according to reports, US has 4 major final blow options Trump could choose from. That is, if Iran refuses to, what Mr. Trump says, surrender or does not accept US proposals. One is invade or blockade Kharg Island. You know how important it is. Second is invade or Larak Island, Abu Musa and the 2
Lesser
tombs.
Thumb.
Lesser and the
Lesser
Greater
and
Thumb.
Greater Thumb.
And then seizing ships exporting oil. Now, if Iran does, if US does take these hostilities, how will it transform the war situation? Keeping in mind that from Kharg Island, main beneficiary is China.
Well, I think in that case, the US will have to sacrifice a minimum of 100,000 troops. Those body bags are to be taken back to the United States. These are rough estimates. And then, of course...
They're your estimates?
Rough estimates. And these are my estimates.
Okay.
I stand corrected. But if the Americans are taking this daring step, so they are they can do that. But the question is, what would be the fallout inside the country, in United States itself, while this war is not popular in the country, and President Trump's popularity graph is going down. It has just touched 35%. And China, definitely, if China's interests are hurt, so China will react. How it will react?
We have to see.
Chinese don't say it in public. And this is the success of their strategy, whether it's economic, it's military, or their diplomatic strategy. So and then Russia, don't forget Russia also.
But Russia is too busy in its own.
No, I think they are still, they can, fight on multi-fronts. They have been doing that historically. And they can do it now.
Russians told the Americans that if you stop providing our intelligence to the Ukrainians, we will stop providing your intelligence to the Iranians.
Well, that would be their, I think, diplomacy.
But this shows...
They may be conducting, but I think...
is this not reflective of their commitment to Iran?
Iran, in this day and age, everything is possible.
Everything is possible.
And,
well, in earlier days also this could have been possible.
But in this day and age, nothing is hidden.
Okay. Sticking to this scenario of these options, 4 major final blow options, and how it could transform the war, what role would the Houthis then play? Because Iran, if this situation arises, that there are 4 options, what role would the Houthis will play?
Why Houthis have been so silent?
Because Iran has not asked them to jump into the war as yet.
It's a war strategy, I think.
He's right. It's a war strategy. Now, the Houthis can then blockade the Red Sea.
Yeah.
And now, if on the one hand the Bab al-Mandab Strait is blocked, the Strait of Hormuz, what would be the situation?
No, it will then become so serious for the international navigation, as well as a great danger to the supply chain in the world.
And then,
so I don't think Trump will, expect that situation to affect its strategy to impose a ceasefire or an agreement on Iran.
You see, last time Americans attacked Houthis, I think it was about, week, 10 days, they spent over $1 billion.
Oh.
Right? And then they had to reach an agreement with the Houthis. Yes. Right. Now, how would then, if the Houthis get involved, then they still have a lot of meat. What will happen to the Saudis? What will happen to the UAE? Oman?
Saudis, Oman, Qatar, as well as Kuwait and Oman, all these countries will be affected.
I fully agree, because that is right now the outlet for the Saudis and Emiratis. Because of the blockade of Strait of Hormuz. But I think Iran has not used the Houthis for the time being, but they can. And don't forget Hezbollah in Lebanon. They are
actively involved.
They are, but I think they haven't come with full force at the moment.
That's right.
And they can play havoc with Israel.
I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, Trump has talked of complete victory. He said that we have achieved complete victory, we have obliterated, destroyed Iran, and he's talking of winding down. But at the same time, he has asked Congress for $200 billion in emergency funding for the ongoing operations. Such a request does not mean that he's winding down. In fact, it means that he's planning for further action, more expensive action, long-term action. Asif?
Yeah, it can. I mean, President Trump can do anything. But at the same time, I think it is in his hands to stop the war. Being a superpower, if the United States takes the initiative to stop the war, no one is going to ridicule President Trump.
They definitely would. Allow me to disagree with you, but they will definitely.
You're most welcome.
His ego will be hurt, and he will definitely be ridiculed.
This man's ego has a short span. Because now he would, in his cabinet meetings, sometimes he make fun of Pete Hegseth.
Yeah.
And on other moments, he does this same with Rubio. And that you are, nasty people and all that, and then he...
They deserve that. They are
So,
gangsters.
Someone has commented that President Trump's total vocabulary is around 200 words. His entire policy revolves around these 200 words and not beyond. So here I think we are passing through a phase where I think non-seriousness is the hallmark of diplomacy as far as America is concerned. And that too, especially President Trump is concerned and his cabinet. The way they behave as if they are slaves. I mean, I watched it last evening. He was presiding over the cabinet meeting and then followed by the press conference. The way he would ask his people as if they were the slaves and they were responding to the questions. This you have never seen. I think we have in our professional life, we have seen at least 6-7 presidents.
Yeah,
this was not the case. This is for the first time, it is as if he is the monarch. He is
like a monarch.
His Royal Highness, and he's ruling the country. So what I'm trying to say is here, that he perhaps miscalculated about Iran.
That's for sure, Asif.
So if that's for sure, then it means then they will have to wake up. Otherwise, it would be a nightmare for the United States and for Israel also.
This asking for $200 billion, my worry is that what we were discussing earlier, that is the ground operations, it is in his mind, and we may see Mr. Trump going that, but then as you said, he should be ready for body bags, because the reports are that Iran is preparing for an invasion of Kharg Island, and they are taking necessary measures for that. Now,
they have planted mines in the whole
that's
area.
what they say. So,
already their suicide bombers are very much there. They are in place. Mm-hmm. And don't forget about their suicide boats.
Yes.
Which are very much there,
Okay, gentlemen, Mr. Bibi Netanyahu is not interested in talks. He wants war to continue. And there is a divergence in the objectives between Israel and the US. They actually contradict each other. Now, Israel wants complete destruction of Iran. It wants Iran instability and insecurity in Iran. It wants the regime to be eliminated. What do you think is, having said, what do you think is Israel's or Netanyahu's game plan here?
President Trump has already announced that the regime has been changed in Iran. The top leadership has been eliminated. So how many more you want to kill in Iran? I think it will be very counterproductive on the part of President Trump.
But if Donald Trump agrees to a ceasefire with Iran, what would be the position of Bibi Netanyahu? Will he accept it? And how will he face his right-wing coalition at home?
Well, that would be a challenge, and which is why I think Netanyahu has been opposed to this cessation of war tooth and nail, and he would do that. But the question is, he also has got limitations, and I think the United States, if it decides that we have to stop the war, I don't think that Netanyahu can do much.
Because they can't fight without full US assistance.
No, they can't. They can't.
Even, on one side, if, US does not support Israel's war machinery, they cannot fight. Similarly, the European countries are not supporting, US, action in Iran. So that is another,
So what is, in fact, Mr. Netanyahu's larger plan? Is it hunt for, or is it to get this greater Israel? Or do you think Israel is actually has insecurity problems as far as Iran is concerned?
I think that would be a prelude to the greater Israel if Iran is, destroyed, quote unquote. But
Because there would be no other...
they may propose, but I think it's not in their control. And perhaps they may have calculated that these immediate Arab states, which are neighbor to Israel, would fall in line, and then the Gulf states are very much their allies. So perhaps that may be the calculation. Here, I think Iran is the only hurdle which they find. And
Naftali Bennett has said Turkey is also there, you have Saudi Arabia is also there, and even called Pakistan.
I think then they have to decide for themselves that what do they want. Because this is a serious affair. And with Pakistan, you know that we will defend.
Obviously.
Yes. So, and if Turkey and Iran join hands together, what will happen? And Egypt also joins. What will happen? I think then Israel has to calculate its own, pluses and minuses.
Asif, Iran is not showing any sign of defeat, right? It is defiant. It is resilient. This is my question to both of you, and very important question for me. It is resilient.
Yeah.
And it will continue on doing this. You see, we are not sure. I, for instance, am not sure what is the reason for their confidence. We see a certain degree of confidence in the statements of the speaker, of the foreign minister, of the IRGC spokesman, etc. I see a certain degree of confidence, and there has got to be a reason for that confidence. They have refused the 15-point proposal, rejected the 15-point proposal. So there has got to be a reason for their confidence, and this reason could be that they have enough arsenal of missiles left. One thing. Second thing, they have plans to how to create death and destruction in the region. Now, when this thing is continuing, do you think nuclear could be an option? It would not be for the US, but for the Israel.
Well, that would be. Then I think Israel will. Have to write its own doom if it uses that nuclear option. More importantly, why Iran is resisting is because their top leadership gave the ultimate sacrifice. And that has in fact generated the element of martyrdom in the entire hierarchy of Iran. So therefore, right from top man, supreme leader down to a soldier, they are full of this motivation. And that you will not find in United States or for that matter in Israel.
Yes?
I see, the strength of, Iranian system.
No, I'm talking about nuclear option. Do you think Israel can can use nuclear option to completely eliminate resistance from Iran?
But,
they have minded tactical nuclear weapons also.
Tactical or otherwise, you have to see the whole region then. It's just not just Iran. Then you have to look into Turkey, Azerbaijan, and then the next is Pakistan. We are neighbors. So Turkey or Iran or Pakistan or other GCC countries, they have to then react. If that time comes that Israel is going to use this option against Iran, I don't think.
I think there will be a serious warning from all the major Muslim countries if that happens.
Because they all will be affected.
Of course. We are neighbor. We are next door neighbor. And we are already being affected because of the oil prices, and then it's just not oil. You import ammonia for your fertilizers and
Fertilizer
other.
is the big,
Well, Asif,
quality.
we are talking about nuclear Armageddon.
No, the issue is we are being affected. If Israel does that, Israel should then, in fact,
Be ready for the consequences.
no, it should write its own obituary then. Then Israel would be writing its own obituary.
How?
Then I think no one, I for one, would use the nuclear option against Israel.
You for one, yeah, okay.
I mean, this is not.
I understand.
This is not any, the child's play.
Child sport. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Okay, Asif, Israel is relentless in its attack on Lebanon. To date, it has killed more than 1,200, 1,300 people. About 1.2 million people have been displaced. It has, in fact, ordered the Lebanese in the south to vacate. Yes. It wants to establish a buffer zone south of River Litani, right? Now, and this Hezbollah is active because of Iran's instructions.
Support.
Now, what I see in 5-point proposal for ceasefire, of a peace, there is no mention of ceasefire in Lebanon by Iran.
They have. For those groups, including Hezbollah and Houthis and others. That's part of it, and it is attributed to Iranian officials. Yeah, so their conditionality is just not restricted to Iran, but also other groups, which Israel is targeting. So because it's basically, if you look at it, it's more than the United States war between Iran and Israel. America is only, it has come to support the Israelis.
Yes.
Yeah. So here I think Israel, perhaps Israel has, is gambling, is into a big gamble. And in that case, I think, and it has indulged in this gamble with you can say with the entire Muslim community or Ummah, whatever you want to call it. That would be, I think, that would be Israel's suicidal course. I don't find any other word.
Okay, okay, gentlemen, what will off-ramp look like? What will qualify as a success for the Americans? What will qualify as success for the Iranians? Second, how will the regional architecture look like?
First, I think a cessation of war, immediate end of war. That means, secondly, if you want to talk about Strait of Hormuz, then I think it would be the Egyptian-like formula, which Egypt has applied. And thirdly, if you really think that the regional architecture would be, I think it should be now, the security should be with the countries of the region, including Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, Egypt, and Gulf states. So that is an alternative. And that can also give guarantees for safety of Israel, provided it agrees to the two-state solution. If they don't, then I think this dispute is going to continue.
Yes, Asif has said that regional countries, Iran, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, and GCC countries should be part of a regional architecture. Security architecture. Now, what we see is that there are serious differences, especially after the war between Iran and GCC countries. There are serious suspicions which will not go away that easily. Therefore, I do not see how is it possible for the regional countries to bring in. I think, and I would need your views on that, I think regional countries, particularly the GCC countries, will continue to depend on US for security. They will not take any action against that thing, particularly because other two major powers, that is Russia and China, they will not get involved, at least security-wise, in the affairs of this country, this region, please.
The post ceasefire or post-agreement scenario, the new security structure, I don't see, US withdrawing the area. at all. The US will continue to stay in the region. How it will manage its bases in the GCC, I don't know. But the question will remain, what will be the status of Israel in the new security structure? Will the Abraham Accord going to be expanded? Will Iran develop any sort of relationship with the state of Israel? If not, then the situation will continue as it is today. The Hezbollah is still there till its concerns are not addressed in Lebanon and in other regions, such as in Syria, for example, or in Jordan, or the expansion of Greater Israel in the region, into the region. Those questions are also to be addressed when we are discussing the security structure, the new security structure of the region.
Yeah, and I think Asif had a point there. The GCC countries need to realize that even a weakened Iran will be there. It has been there for thousands of years. It will still be there even after the war. So they have to learn to live with Iran, which means they have to find a way, a modus operandi. Asif?
I agree, because you may have seen it, that you talked about the differences between Iran and the Gulf states. Very much there. But United States presumably was the net security provider. It failed.
It failed.
So I think, therefore, there's a room for negotiations. And of course, it's not going to be a cakewalk or easy way to come into. But these are the ideas, because here these countries are contiguous geographically. And mind you, in this entire war, the importance of geography has been high.
Very good. Correct.
So I think here the United States may want to stay here, but they have to then be prepared for the sacrifices this geography wants.
Okay, gentlemen, both of you, quick. Pakistan's mediatory role. How do you see that? Well,
I think mediatory role is you have to be an honest broker. Because this is a response to Mr. Jaishankar's...
well, that was a third-rate response.
Third-rate response, but here I think we have been an honest broker. And this is what we have been playing throughout. Whether it was Iran-Saudi tiff, we wanted that they should resolve their dispute through peaceful means. And then where you have seen in this entire war, Pakistan's credibility has been established. Pakistan's credibility as an honest broker has been established. And that is why Iran trusts Pakistan. So is the United States. So are other Gulf countries, I can assure you, because they know that Pakistan is a power, but Pakistan has not used its power for opportunistic purposes.
Correct.
Yeah. I agree with that.
No, I know you agree with him, but I wanted to add that Indian media is, it's very irritated about about Pakistan's role in playing in this mediatory efforts. In fact, they say that Pakistan is coming at the center of the world politics.
Yes, it is. It is a fact. Since May last year,
Asif is enjoying it.
Pakistan has really made inroads at the global level. We have achieved a lot diplomatically. A renewed relationship with the United States, a new partnership with the United States, and then in the Gulf countries where India used to be regarded as a net security provider, it is no more there.
No more there.
I may add a sentence.
Go ahead.
That India, in fact, has alienated its neighbors, immediate neighbors.
Yes, absolutely.
What are you talking about? Its role to be played at the international level.
Absolutely.
So this is unfortunate.
You have struck the nail.
This is unfortunate.
Okay. Thank you very much, both of you. Ladies and gentlemen, if talks between Iran and US fail to, or if both the countries fail to reach the negotiated settlement, then there will be a greater likelihood of sharper escalation. The next phase of this would, of course, herald in the next phase of war, which could be detrimental for the region and which could lead to insecurity and instability in the region. The talks which are taking place, they are taking place through the mediatory efforts of Pakistan, Turkey, and Iran. And they are, of course, communicating the messages. Mr. Trump wants the talks, as we discussed, wants the talks to revolve around his 15-point plan, which envisages Iran to eliminate, finish and its nuclear program, to restrict its missile program, and joint control of Strait of Hormuz. Iran has rejected these proposals, and Trump has asked Iran also to surrender or face the consequences. But Iran is resilient, Iran is defiant, and it has threatened to inflict death and destruction on the region. The Strait of Hormuz continues to remain the critical flashpoint, and Iran still is able to disrupt the global energy flows despite sustained strikes by US and Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, while Washington and Tel Aviv may have achieved tactical gains in Iran, they have bombed a country with very old history and with very old culture, civilization, and they virtually bombed them into antiquity. But they have still not been able to achieve their broader strategic objectives. What are these objectives? In case of Israel, it's quite sure it wants destruction, complete destruction of Iran. It wants instability in Iran. In case of President Trump, it is uncertain because he keeps on moving from one objective to another. Now, GCC countries are walking a very tight rope, and they are aligned with the US, but they are increasingly wary of Iranian repeated attacks. Despite these tactical victories, ladies and gentlemen, Iran, as we discussed, remains resilient and it remains defiant. And as a result, there is a greater uncertainty in the region, and this uncertainty will lead to regional instability and economic insecurity in the longer run. Thank you for watching Ambassador's Lounge. Please subscribe to our channel, and we will be back.